Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy first day of March. So it's been almost a month since I stopped consuming caffeine. You got to remember why I stopped consuming it in the first place. I had some art projects I wanted to do. Today it really came in handy. You guys may remember I've been making a lot of Buddhas out of bismuth, zinc, tin, among other metals. Getting them into the frame and lining them up correctly is always tricky. A lot of measurements, and then then as I'm putting it in, oftentimes my hands will tremble a lot. I didn't notice that today, so that was good. You know, I was only going to stop using caffeine for a couple of days to do a few art projects, but it looks like my temporarily getting off of caffeine sounds about as temporary as Nixon's temporary when he said it in 1971 now. So that's good. Although I love all the benefits of dark baking chocolate. I haven't gone back to the chocolate yet because I want to be a little bit more solid with my not being dependent on caffeine. It's a tough call. I actually did some Googling to see if one can find chocolate that doesn't have caffeine or theobromine. Maybe that's something I'll work on in the future, how to cultivate stimulant-free chocolate. Alright, but there's another benefit I want to talk about, and this one has nothing to do with the physical properties of caffeine or theobromine. To understand this benefit, let's go back a few years. Back in 2019, I had a huge problem with binge eating disorder. I would get a craving to eat something, and I would lose all good judgment. It would be 1, 2 in the morning. I'd go out to get my craved food. It would intrude on my social interactions with other people. You guys may remember that. And my New Year's resolution in 2020 was to normalize my relationship with food. And I started doing intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has physical benefits, but it has one big psychological benefit as well. It forces you to not instinctively reach for food without thinking about it. It puts a little bit of a barrier between you and your food, right? I stopped masturbating for, I think my record was 60-some days. And the big benefit there was that it forced me to think before I act, right? I masturbate nowadays, but nowadays there's more of a barrier. I actually do it going in knowing what I'm doing. Now, I strongly, Peter, dislike eating with my hands. So, one of my favorite fast food meals is the French fries at Five Guys. I'll eat it with a fork, actually. And two reasons I dislike that. First of all, oftentimes my hands aren't even all that clean, right? So you guys may have seen, I make art out of zinc. So I get pennies from the bank, but then you have to sort out, the pennies come in two different kinds of metal. Copper before 1982, zinc after 1982, and a bunch of other things. My hands are often not, and sometimes I work with metals that aren't exactly safe either, right? And also, I really, Peter, dislike when other people use their hands to eat, because I have food allergies as well. It'd be nice if it were kind of socially frowned upon to eat with our hands. I wish it were. I am a little bit surprised that during the pandemic there wasn't a lot of discussion. You heard a lot about washing your hands. You heard a lot about social distancing, wearing a mask. I'm surprised, hey, maybe don't eat it with your hands wasn't a big thing, right? Maybe as much as masks were passed around during the pandemic, why not eating utensils? I just don't understand it. But yeah, I actually think I do understand it, because the food industry would lose a lot of money if people actually stopped and thought before they ate, right? The food industry really thrives on us eating subconsciously, right? If you took what a typical American eats in one day, put it in front of them to show them, I think most people would be grossed out of their mind, right? Anyways, it's really an eye-opener to put a barrier in between you and your unhealthy habits, right? Whether it be even just a thought process or the need to get a utensil. You get the idea, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.